Okay, I think our presenters are all here, yes? So I think I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. I am Chairperson Liz Muirhead. I recognize my Vice Chairperson, Shauna Maxwell. Board Member Robin Seagreaves is here. Board Member Elgin Bailey is excused. And we do not have our employee representative, Jeff Bauer, this evening. We will start with the approval of the minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, modifications to the minutes for the August 12th Finance Committee meeting? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please say yes.
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 Yes. Okay. The minutes are so approved. They will be placed on file. Okay, we now move to our presenters. Presenting on behalf of the proposed Brandywine View development, the fiscal impact analysis and LERTA schedule, we have David C. Babbitt and Associates LLC. You can come to this podium here. You should use the microphone because we are live streaming. Thank you. There's a
Thank you. Very good. My name is Gina Gerber. I'm an attorney with Riley, Riper, Holland, and Culler Greco. I'm here on behalf of the developer tonight. We've had the privilege of representing the developer throughout their approval process, which is still ongoing for this proposed development. I just wanted to give you all, before Mr. Babbitt comes up and gives you the intricate details of the LERTA proposal for your consideration this evening, just an overview of what the development is that we're actually discussing applying a LERTA 2. So this is a property at 320 Adams Drive. It's surrounded on the exterior by Manor Drive in the city of Coatesville. This is a project that's approximately 75 acres. It is a project that has final land development approval for the first phase of a development on the property. The development consists of 4 multifamily dwelling units, as well as a townhouse development. Phase A is conclusive of the multifamily development. The townhouse development will eventually go through land development approval in the city of Coatesville shortly. But we're taking this time, this opportunity, to talk to you all about the proposal for a LERTA on this particular property. The reason for that is this is the last large parcel in the city of Coatesville yet to be developed, and there is a very good reason for that. This property is extremely challenging in terms of the topography. It's very sloped. It has some very challenging rocky surfaces. The development of this site is something that has been the subject of multiple development plans by multiple developers over the year. And as you can see, nothing's really gotten off the ground because the property itself is so very challenging and difficult to develop from both a actual construction standpoint, but also from an economic standpoint, in order to be able to put the infrastructure in to deal with the geography, to deal with everything that's on this particular site. It takes a very experienced as well as a very savvy developer to figure out how to do it. And then it's going to take some cooperation with the city, with the school district, and with the county to make this project feasible, which is why we're here this evening. The city has looked very favorably both on this project as well as the proposed LERTA for this particular project, because the city sees the benefits of having these additional residential units in the city. In my opinion, I think that having these additional residential units in the city is also going to be beneficial for the school district. We're talking about units that are brand new. They aren't otherwise available in the city right now, and they are in desperate need of housing, both in terms of multifamily market rate housing as well as townhouses. So without belaboring this too much, the plan that is in front of you does depict that proposed development. As you'll see on that plan, there is an already developed section right in the middle of the new proposed improvements, which are kind of to the exterior of the site. To the bottom left of your plan, you'll see the 4 multifamily buildings. We're proposing approximately 266 apartments within those buildings. And then in the right-hand side of your plan, kind of upper right-hand side of your plan, is the townhouse area of development, which will be a second phase of development. We had originally started out with approximately 350 units. The developer has been working very closely with the city and has actually scaled back the development a little bit by 50 townhouse units. So what you are looking at now is a proposal for approximately 300 townhouse units. That is just a result of making the economics of this particular development work, as well as imposing some value engineering to the project to make sure that this project is feasible. So without getting into too much other detail, I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Babbitt, who's going to give you more detail about what you all may be interested in this evening, which is the third proposal.
Thank you and good evening. I wonder which version of this report you have. The one on the board is the executive summary. Do people have the full version or just the executive summary?
We have a full version,
Okay.
attached in our board materials.
Okay. Well-
I think, I'm just looking at, yeah, okay. Yes.
I'd like to start with a spreadsheet that's a couple of pages from the end of the document, the one that's the impact to the school district, if we may. Do I have the opportunity to change this? Yes, here we go. Here we go. This is a lot of numbers, and for a change, I'm actually addressing a numbers-oriented crowd. It's quite a difference for me. This is great. There are 3 panels on this spreadsheet. The first panel at the very top displays the proposed development. We have the number of units in the upper left-hand corner in column B. The total number of units proposed is 562. The market value per unit for the townhomes ranges from $331,000 for the smaller 2-bedroom stacked townhomes up to just shy of $403,000 for the largest of the 3-bedroom standard townhomes. These would be the lowest price, highest value townhomes, new construction anywhere in Chester County to the best of our knowledge. But they're still new construction. They're still market value. The assessed value for the apartments is based on comparable units in central and western Chester County, averaging between $61,000 and $64,000 per unit. The assessed value per unit for the townhouses simply is the market value times the State Tax Equalization Board common level ratio at the bottom of the page. It's 31.84%. Yep. The assessed value of the total development at build-out is projected to be about $53.2 million. That's a very large number. It represents something like 17% of the existing assessed value of all properties in the city, and approximately, I'll get that number for you, about 1.7% of the total assessed value of all properties in the district, which is about $3.2 billion. This is a large, important, major development. Demographics continues in column F, and the school-age children per unit is based on a study done by our friends at Rutgers University, who came up with the methodology for fiscal impact analysis. And I can leave this copy with you. This is based on the U.S. Census data for the state of Pennsylvania in the 2000 census. It's all housing units that were built between 1990 and 2000, differentiated by dwelling type, singles, townhouses, apartments, and so forth, by dwelling size and the number of bedrooms, by dwelling tenure, apartments, rentals versus condos, for example, and finally by value. The higher the value units, generally speaking, the lower the demographics. The school-age children, the number of public school students, is in column G, and it's simply the number of school-age children per unit times the number of units for each category, and then everything is multiplied by 95.4%, which is down at the bottom, which is the percentage of school-age children attending public schools in the city of Coatesville from the 2022 American Community Survey of the U.S. Census Bureau. So we are projecting a total of about 68 public school students in this development at build-out and full occupancy.
Just to clarify, when you say 68, Do you mean for the apartments only, or do you mean for the apartments and the townhomes?
The entire development. Actually, the apartments are projected to have only 17 public school students.
I will just tell you that that seems low to me. I'm curious, I understand the methodology is, based on something that is kind of rigorous and uses broad data, but we have had a housing shortage, we have had a significant issue with household creation amongst millennials because of the affordability of housing. So if, as you say, this will be the lowest cost new construction in Chester County, I would actually expect there to be a higher level of demand for this housing from families, younger families with that pent-up demand for household creation. And so the data from this type of household in 2025 might look very different than it did from 1990 to 2000, using 2000 census data. So I'm wondering, are you aware of any analysis that's been done using this methodology in developments that were built from 2015 or beyond to see how accurate the projections are?
Yes, I've done that research myself.
Okay.
I do a lot of fiscal impact analysis in a lot of municipalities and a lot of school districts in the Philadelphia metropolitan region. And many school districts actually publish the actual number of public school kids coming from large-scale housing developments like apartments, for example. And it's rather remarkable because it's consistent across the board that newer, higher-end apartment complexes in particular tend to attract families with no kids or single people or older adults. It's the dumbbell effect of the demographics. The middle of that dumbbell, families with kids, tend not to look for apartments. They tend to look for houses with yards. And even if that means that they're looking for existing older homes, that's typically what they look for. This is consistent throughout the region. As for the townhouses, I think you may be right to a degree, but it's not, as you'll see at the end of this, the numbers aren't even close here. If I'm even wrong by 10 or 20 or 50%, something like that, there's still going to be plenty of money generated by this development to cover additional costs.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
For now, yes, thank you.
Okay. The annual school district expenditures in column H, you can find that at the bottom. It's the total school district expenditures, $242 million. We subtract some pass-through expenditures, LEA, revenue, rentals, things like that. We end up with a net expenditures of about $234 million divided by the total number of school students that the school district pays for, whether they are in facilities operated by the district or other facilities. They are still paid for by the district, which gives us the average per student expenditure in cell I-74. That's $28,954. We'll call it $29,000 per student. That's a relatively high number, that is to say relative to most other suburban school districts. The only numbers that I've seen that are that high are places like Radnor School District, which can spend a lot of money on its students because it can. Not because it has to. So the annual school district expenditures of $29,000 per student multiplied by the 68 projected students gives us annual expenditures of just shy of $2 million, $1,968,000, averaging $3,500 per dwelling across all dwelling types. The middle panel shows the various revenue sources. The first is the real estate tax. Now this spreadsheet shows the real estate tax at 100%. This would be after the completion of the LRTA program. The real estate tax is the assessed value of almost $53.2 million multiplied by the school district's current real estate tax millage of 44.3640, gives us a annual revenue of $2,238,000 and change. This this revenue source alone is significantly higher than the annual school district expenditures, the total expenditures of $1,968,000. There are additional revenue categories from the earned income tax. This would be based on the housing value, whether it's the price tag of the single-family attached to townhomes or the monthly rents of the apartments. That gives us an additional revenue of about $320,000. The real estate transfer tax, 0.5% applied only to the townhouses. I'm sorry, let me back up. The real estate tax is also reflects the school district's homestead exclusion of $9,105. It takes away a couple $100 per unit.
Okay.
So that's built into here. The real estate transfer tax applies only to the townhomes. That gives us about $57,000 or so. State and federal revenue is simply the total revenue the district receives from the state and federal governments in this year's current budget, divided by the 8,082 students, which yields about $10,000 per student applied to the 68 prospective students from the proposed development. So we're looking at about $680,000 in state and federal revenue. There's a little bit extra money in earnings on investments. The total annual revenue is projected to be $3,337,000 and change per year. That averages about $5,939 per unit across all dwelling types. The net school district revenue, which is down at the bottom, would be the total revenue minus the expenditures, which is projected to be a net surplus, a positive number, of $1,368,980 per year, or about $2,436 per unit across all dwelling types. Annual revenue is expected to exceed annual expenditures by nearly 70%. So if you have any questions about this spreadsheet, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can move forward to the LRTA schedule.
So
No.
this makes the assumption that this is at the end of the LRTA period?
Yes. We'll get to the LRTA in a minute.
Okay.
If you like, at this time or later, I can discuss the impact to the city of Coatesville and to the county if you have interest. That's entirely
I would
up
rather
to
us stick to the impact to
Okay.
the district, and we can take, as
By all means.
noted, the other schedules you provided.
All right, so the very final page of the document, excuse me, is the proposed LRTA schedule. And I apologize, it's a little bit dense, there's a lot of information on here, but we're going to concentrate kind of on the middle couple of columns, which is the school district impact. At the very left, you'll see the LRTA year, 1 through 10, and 11 plus. 11 plus is after the LRTA period, that's any given year after the end of the LRTA. And then the LRTA increment, which goes from 0 to 10 to 20%, all the way up incrementally by 10% each year, up to 100% at the end of the LRTA period in year 11. So the columns under school district impact that you see would be the real estate tax revenue, which also I would say includes earnings on investments, because the earnings on investments rather, are tied to the real estate tax generally. People pay their real estate tax bills one time during the year. The district puts that money into an interest-bearing account, and that's where most of the interest earnings come from. And so I've lumped that with real estate tax because that's, I think, what it relates to.
That's fair. Just a question, what rate have you used for that? Because we're in a period where rates on those savings, on those investments are likely higher right now than they might be over the next 5 years?
I've used whatever your existing budget says that you're going to receive in earnings on investments, divided by your total assessed value, and apply that to the assessed value of the proposed development.
Okay, so it's probably a little higher than we would expect over this time period, because that budget would be based on where rates are for this school year.
That may be true, but it's in total only $41,000 out of a total revenue of $3.3 million. It's really, if it varies a little bit, it's not going to change the outlook here overall, one way or the other.
Thank you. Continue.
So that's the real estate tax revenue. And you see that goes up every year by an increment until you reach year 11. That $2,279,891 is the anticipated revenue to the school district each year after the end of the LRTA period. The other revenue, which includes earned income tax, real estate transfer tax, state and federal revenue, that's going to be a constant at $1,057,000 and change every year throughout the LRTA period. So the total revenue is the third column, which is simply the two columns previous to it combined. The expenditures, $1,968,000, is also a constant. That's not likely to change. We're assuming everything in constant dollars because it's too difficult to project inflation or anything like that. And finally, we have the net impact. That's the column that I think we should concentrate on for a few minutes. And it shows a net negative number in year one of $896,773. That net negative number goes down. It's only negative for 4 years. And it reaches the break-even point somewhere in year 5 when the net deficit turns into a surplus of about $15,000. And from that point onward becomes an even stronger surplus until at the end it becomes the anticipated surplus at the end of the LRTA period, $1,368,980. The cumulative impact over the 11 years that I've shown here is a net surplus of $2,660,000 or so. If you want, you can see, for example, the county goes from a net negative number to a net positive number in year 7, I believe. You get there in year 5. The city is in a significantly different situation. It remains always in a net surplus situation, and the reason for that is because the city gets a great deal of its money not from the real estate tax, like the county does and like the school district does, but because it relies on other revenue sources to a far greater degree, especially the earned income tax.
Question for you. When does the LRTA begin, and does it depend on when different properties are built when it starts for that property? So, like, if we started building this next year, is that year 1, or is year 1 when those buildings are occupied? Can you walk us through a little bit about what that timeline looks like?
That's an excellent question to which I honestly do not know the answer.
Okay.
Do you, perhaps?
I might be able to fill in a little bit here. My understanding is that the LRTA starts when the application for building permit is applied for. So in this case, because there are 2 different phases which may not be constructed at the same time, the LRTA would kind of take effect for the different phases when each building permit is applied for that particular phase.
Per unit,
And per unit.
because it would be a pass-through.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm asking that is because these projections are based on the entire community being built, but if that's happening in stages, I'm just trying to understand, would we be in a better position than this analysis because not all of the properties would be occupied, and so there'd be, this would be applied to a smaller total number? Or might it just draw this schedule out, so instead of it being over 10 years, if the townhomes don't get started for 3 years, then the 10-year LRTA starts in 3 years, and it still applies in the way that it's laid out here?
I think the latter is the case.
Okay.
If no one's going to build 300 townhomes in 1 year in one
No,
place.
absolutely
At least
not.
not anyone who has any thoughts of selling them all in 1 year. So it's going to take time for the development to get built, and the LRTA period would start for each phase or each block or each unit perhaps when that unit, I think, has a building permit applied for. Do you want to answer this?
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm John Jaffe, the developer. Just to field that question, the answer is yes. The apartments will come online first, and then you sell through the remainder of the community. And as you go through individual units, that's how they get introduced.
So the LRTA would probably end on the apartments before we would be completely through it on the townhomes.
That is
So some of
correct.
the recognition of this net
Correct.
impact would actually be staged across the different
And then in
development
response to
phases.
your question, which is pretty interesting that you had before, and I was going to bring that up to David to ask him, because he's pretty good at this stuff, is if we build the apartments first sequentially, which is what's going to happen, it does have a net positive impact back to you guys, and you have a disproportionate number of students and expenses associated with that. So your apartment section coming in first will absolutely help you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, the upshot here is that this proposed development is good news for the school district. It's good news for the city of Coatesville. It's good news for the county. It's good news for the school district. But we're asking the school district to make a commitment, to make an investment in the city of Coatesville to help this project move forward, because without the LRTA, the project will not move forward. There will be no development at all, and therefore no benefits over time from this development without the LRTA proposal being adopted. The site is, as Gina said, it's too hard to develop. It's too incredibly expensive to develop this site without some kind of assistance like the LRTA.
Limp back up here again. Yeah, just to reiterate that, two other things you asked about the question with how many students for the apartments. These are only 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. That's part of our site plan approval. So when you start looking at how many kids you're going to get, that might have been one of the reasons that stood out to you, and you said, okay, maybe there's a disconnect there. It is only 1 and 2 bedrooms. And you jump up to 3 bedroom apartments, you do get a big jump in students there. And that's not what this is. It's not parked that way. It's not approved this way. There is zero chance that that happens on this approved project. What was the next piece of that? Oh, just as far as asking for the tax abatement here, we've gone back. Gina did it when she did the introduction. She kind of went through why we're actually here. And the reason we're here is we've gone through the entire process. We bought this property. We currently own it. We bought this property back in 2019. We've expended a significant amount of money. This property has bounced around a bunch of different developers unsuccessfully. It's the last remaining and the largest development tract in the city of Coatesville, and it hasn't been developed for a reason, because the economics just don't work, and that's why we're here. So we had to go through the entire process to get to this point, to figure out that really we need your guys' help to get over the final hump here, and that's kind of what that's why we did all this work, to say, hey, this is beneficial to everybody. It's going to really help the city. Eventually, it's going to have a positive impact on the whole community of the city in general. The city is very much so behind us. And we'd appreciate your help getting this across the finish line to help us out here.
I have a couple other questions, and then I want to open it up for other members of the committee and the board, as well as the staff here, if they have any questions. One is, can you clarify, the townhomes themselves will be sold individually, so those will be like homes for sale, but the apartments will be rental units, so they're going to be managed by one management company. Am I correct on that?
That is correct. We intend to own and operate the apartments ourselves. So
Okay.
My company is Statewide Properties. We own and operate somewhere around 1,000 apartments now. It's just a family-owned company. That's what we do. So like I said, we started this 2019, went through all the entitlements, and we also have a small home building company here. We can keep some of the home building and sell the houses. We're talking to various builders that are interested in selling up there, but we're intending to keep the apartments, build them, own them, and rent them. And then on the top section, roads go in, they sell houses, like any other development you've seen for
And it'll be a
third-party
PUD with an
homeowner.
HOA.
Correct.
The apartments themselves, you talked about kind of you talked about the affordability of the houses relative to the rest of Chester County. Do you have a sense for what you're targeting in terms of the affordability of the apartments themselves?
The rents, you mean? Monthly
Yes.
rents?
Yes. Is that in here somewhere? Oh,
The one-bedrooms are going to average approximately $1,700 per month. The two-bedrooms, $2,000 per month.
okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to open it up to either the committee or other board members to ask questions.
I have a question that I want to ask.
Yes.
Can you explain how building the apartments first is going to benefit the Coatesville Area School District? Considering that the apartments tend to draw single people or young couples just starting out, or just, two adults. How does that benefit Coatesville Area School District if they come first? building-wise?
Well, it benefits the district fiscally because the expenditures will be low. Most people living in apartments do not have children, therefore the expenditures generated by those units will be very low.
So the LRTA would get us, we wouldn't get as much property tax revenue over the beginning years, but we would get the income tax revenue, and we would not have additional students in the district that would cause us additional expenses that we're not collecting property tax revenue for. So more revenue, no additional expenses.
Well, I don't know that I'd say no expenses, but
Lower,
lower expenses.
right.
Yes. Because there's likely to be more kids living in the townhomes than in the apartments.
Because you said the three-bedroom is where you see a big shift, so.
Three-bedroom apartments, yes. Three-bedroom, and honestly, nobody builds three-bedroom apartments anymore because, first of all, it's very expensive to do so. And if a household has enough funds, enough resources to afford a three-bedroom apartment, they have enough resources to buy a house somewhere. Out of the thousands of units that I've worked on over the past several years, I believe there have been 5 units in one single development somewhere in Delaware County, in Edgemont Township, that were 5-bedroom units. That was a retirement community. And that's, for the move-up, or, the people who are finished living in their large, expensive estates and wanted to move to a very large place because they have a lot of furniture and they can afford to do that. That's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, and to reiterate that, of our portfolio and of all the stuff we're entitling, which is, if you add it all up together, it's thousands of units. We have 0 new 3-bedroom units that we're proposing, so it's just not something that we do anyway. And additionally, this is right next door to the new train station, so it's a transit-oriented, transit-focused, that kind of helps the demographic of person that's going to be here. It's a commuter type, is what we're expecting anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking at page 7, and it looks like the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments have the lowest expected school-age children per unit of all of the properties.
By far, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no question.
Director Seagreaves.
I was more struggling with the geography. I couldn't figure out how this was in the coastal city limit. It looked like Callan to me, but I guess it's right on a wonky line.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, I was having trouble with the geography because it's past us, and we're Callan, so I was curious as how is it south? No, north. Where is this? It's within Coatesville city limits.
It's within Coatesville City.
Coatesville
So
Township.
this is actually believe it or not, there exists an 80-acre plus or minus vacant tract of land that's been sitting there. Like I said, various developers have kicked it around for years. We've brought it basically to the finish line here. I mean, it was challenging enough. You heard Gina in the introduction here say we've walked back actually what you see in front of you. So we have this entitled for 350 units. We're actually revising that downward just because the cost to develop this is so high. So it's the hill basically on the northern side. If you're in downtown Coatesville, you look up on the hill. It's basically if you're at the train station and you look up, all that forest and stuff up there is this property. So the apartments are directly across the tracks. There's a 7-8 acre area there. We're putting the 262 apartments. And then when you drive up the road further up on the hill is the residual acreage with the rest of the townhouse development.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, can you use your?
I know exactly where this property is, and I have friends that live up in that area, and I know they had some concern. That has nothing to do with this too much, but I was just wondering, where was that? Are they still convinced? Have you convinced them that, that these new homes will be all right going up there?
Sure, yeah, so we did, like I said, we've owned this now for 5 years. I've had meetings with city residents, residents of Hillview actually, which is not in the city, but on the, where Lennar built the rest of the Hillview complex there with those residents. So we've reached out to everybody, I've talked to people at meetings, so we've absolutely done some community outreach. The last meeting we were at, you have people, I mean, like any development you're going to do, people have questions about traffic and all the other stuff, and we handled all that stuff. And then the latest development, which if anybody's listening tonight, the city council knows we haven't actually brought the plan back in, but one of the challenges we had here was the topography and actually value engineering that top section. So we need to go back in our process. The apartments are final approved and completed. The top section, we need to go back in and get final plans and phases on that. We have not done that yet. And it's now becoming public information. We have a plan in place to take 50 units off of that, which will, even lower some of the impacts to we already had it approved and the impacts were acceptable and vetted and everything else, and city engineers review all that.
Yeah,
But
and
it's
I
gonna
can
be less
imagine
than
the
that now.
challenges, because I remember when Hillview and the water that came down off that hill was crazy.
Yeah, and we address that in public meetings too. What I like to say, when you do development, we fix things as opposed to causing problems. So what happens when you have uncontrolled runoff, that's where you run into issues. But anything that comes on to our property, you're mandated, through the city and also through, county stormwater ordinances. We need to control that and then make sure that there's no downstream effects. So that's one of the things in our plans that our engineers look at, and then it's re-reviewed by the city engineer, which is Cedarville, and then re-reviewed again by the Conservation District, which is Chester County. So you get triple checks on top of that to make sure that we're doing things responsibly and fixing any problems that actually exist.
Yeah, and Director Seagreaves, just if this is helpful, if you start at the west end, like the western end of Coatesville, where there's First Avenue and 82, and you just go north on 82, this is like basically right after you go under the train bridge. It's that tract of land to the right. Okay, cool.
That's it.
It's like,
There's like Adams Drive, Adams Road, there's a bunch of Adams.
yes, yes. I just kind of like visually know where it is from driving there.
Yeah.
I actually don't know Adams Drive, but
I have a question, if I could,
Please.
a couple questions, actually. One, and Director Muirhead might have addressed this, I'm not sure I got the full answer. In the LERTA schedule, in which year, do all of the years assume full 100% occupancy, or in which year does that start?
Yes, it's essentially impossible to create a LERTA schedule without knowing the development schedule. We don't know which units are going to be built. We think the apartments are going to be built first, but we don't know which townhouse units are going to be built first and how many per year and so forth. So yes, this assumes that everything is built all at once together and it's done, and it assumes full occupancy. If it's not full occupancy, if there are vacant units, then two things happen which tend to offset each other. The expenditures go down, but also the revenue goes down because of less earned income tax revenue, that sort of thing.
And then I guess the other thing, I don't know if it's really a question, I would just sort of note that this assumes, I agree that we're probably looking at a higher number of students, of school-age students, kids living there. The other thing is that this assumes that 95% of those students come to the Coatesville Area School District, where I know that our numbers right now, based on students living in the district boundaries, that's not the case. So when those students go to charter schools, that actually is an additional cost for us, well above our usual cost per student in many cases. So just kind of, I don't know if, taking that into account, because
So I think that's an excellent point. Based on my understanding of the numbers that they pulled, the 28,000 per student actually includes
Yes.
our charter school expenses, and that's why the number's so high.
that was my next question, is how we arrived at that, so, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost $29,000 per student, yes.
Thank you.
Are there other questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just looking at your rents. So my brother and I, we flip houses and we have a bunch of apartments ourselves, old houses. And I feel, we just put one on the market. So, you're saying a one-bedroom apartment is $1,700 when I'm renting a two-bedroom in city limits, for $1,700. And then I have a four-bedroom that's literally across the street from where you guys are building for $21 right now. So I'm just a little concerned with your values here. Now, of course, we want I don't even know if that has anything to do with us. If we have to look at the whole picture here, and I don't understand I'm sure you asked how he got the values, right? That was at the beginning.
I didn't ask how they got the rents.
Okay. So that's what I'm just trying to understand, because again, we had to just my brother and I had to look at what was renting right now, and it wasn't anywhere near this. And they're not brand new, but we flip every one of them. So it's practically brand new. So how did you get those rent prices?
Well, I got them from the applicant. They've done their pro forma to figure out what they need to charge. But I will also tell you, excuse me, that I've done a lot of studies on proposed apartment complexes in Chester County, and these are actually much lower than what other developers are charging for rents in new units. Most of the time, one-bedrooms are well above $2,000. Two bedrooms are $2,400, $2,600, $2,800, and I'm not talking about, in Tredyffrin Township. This would be in communities that are not terribly far away from here. So they're quite affordable.
Yeah, I can just give you a direct answer. So, one, I said, I don't know what I'm talking blind because I don't know what your units are. I don't know what your level of finishes are. I don't know, what you're doing. But for the stuff we're doing, you have some higher end finishes, you have some community amenities, parking availability. Do we throw in a rail pass? What other stuff do you put on top? And then you get more of a community feel. We have more of a community there where you're actually, renting, so you get some better marketing that way. And like I said, we took a section of Chester County, like David said, so we took a look at what rents are. You have Millview is the other apartment complex. It's
Yeah.
larger, that's right across, and they're maybe a little bit lower this, but those are older units. Same thing, this is proximate to the train station, so you have some of those things. And like I said, the other caveat being is, could you get an extra 50 or $100? I don't know. I'm happy to take a look at your units, and I'm happy to give you my opinion, and maybe you could.
No,
So.
I also don't want to create an atmosphere, and that's like that it's not affordable for our families. And, you are right. It's like one of the last remaining areas, and we do need houses, and it's not like.
We need affordable houses, right?
But
Yeah.
but that's my point. We need
Yeah.
affordable houses. And, you can say that, people who need a 3-bedroom can afford, but you can't. You can't. There's plenty of studies that have shown that millennials aren't able to buy houses right now. So I just don't think that's.
Yeah, we're on both sides. We have a single-family home building business. Mortgage rates are outrageous. Like, things got expensive. You had an inflationary moment here, and that's just where we're at. Hopefully, things normalize.
And I just think that you're also underestimating the idea of. I know a lot of people who have 1-bedroom apartments, and they have a lot more people in them than you think they are, and there are kids there. So.
Yeah, like I said, we're a professional management company, so we monitor everything, because we had this conversation with the city too, where they say, okay, every apartment's going to have 9 cars. And I say, no, because, you have the same thing.
No,
You
I
get
have the
things
same- yeah.
approved, people,
Yeah.
we have to have those conversations with
Absolutely.
the community and with the city, and we have that dialogue. And the answer is, we run a lot of these, we're a professional company, we hand out parking passes, we monitor it. And like I said, historically, for all the things we own, you have ordinances that don't let you have that many people living in stuff, and we can control in our leases, who you're allowed to have in there and what some of that is. So we don't have those issues with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. With bigger numbers, sometimes they go, on the way to the wayside, with a lot of apartments. Anyway, okay, I just wanted to understand where you got those numbers.
Yeah, and that being
and-
said, could it be a little more, a little less? We're looking for a ballpark, and the other thing is when you start building this and it's a 10-year projection, so
Yeah.
there are rents today, tomorrow,
Absolutely.
future, a lot of variables.
All right. I just want it to be affordable. That's.
Yeah, we
I want it
do
to be
our best,
affordable
'cause
for
we need
our
to be-
families and-
Yeah, what I say is we need to make it a price point where we're gonna have it full. So, we wanna serve the community, and we wanna have a successful apartment project, and, in order to do that, that's what you have to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from board members?
Just a potential observation. I think when we're talking affordability for our community, I'm hearing transient families, I'm hearing potential like rail trail passes. Like, I think what we're honestly looking at is outside folks moving in, right? We're not, I mean, affordability, we're not really talking about folks living in the city of Coatesville. That price point is lower than this. This price point, even though it might be lower than other spaces in our county, is certainly still at a higher price point than, if we're saying our community in the sense of Coatesville residents, we're at higher price points in this. So we're talking about transient folks, live at the top of the hill, come down, get on the train, and go to work in Philly. So that's just for clarity, I think, because I'm hearing you say price point and affordability for our community. That's not what I'm seeing here.
Other questions or comments from board members? Lori, Tony, do either of you have any questions? Okay.
I have one off-the-cuff question here that has really nothing to do with the LRTA component. Where are the entrances into the community? Off of 82, off of where? I see the one, what's that one development up top? Hillview, but I don't see any roads going into the community. Oh, I didn't mean to make you walk up here, I just. It's hard to, I'm not. So I see this one down here, that's it.
82, show them 82.
This is 82, right?
It's on the
Yeah.
left.
So if you drive up there today, so these are existing roads.
Okay,
This actually.
I saw it on
tees
the
off
porch.
dead ends to go up the hill.
Okay.
So the city of Coatesville is down in here, here's your train tracks. Here's the apartment component.
Yep.
You come here, where the circle is, you come up, and you have your apartments to the left, you go around the bend, and then actually
So
these
there's no
three
entrance,
entrances.
there's no entrance from 82 like Hillview.
Correct, there's no entrance on it.
okay.
So this just goes through the city.
I'm thinking transportation. Buses.
You can't get up that, not with, I mean, not at Hillview.
There's no connection to Hillview.
No, yeah.
Just off of here.
Yeah, you can come up through here.
It is literally a cliff there.
It's existing road now. It's not, I don't know what the grades are, but it's not.
No, from 82.
Yeah, from 82, that's one of the reasons we didn't do this.
Right.
This was not, like I said, there were a lot of, it's one of the reasons we're standing here. There's a lot of challenges with this property. that we
Sure.
have.
I understand.
Yeah. No, thank you.
This wasn't-
Appreciate you taking that.
It's like a lot of fun to figure this out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. Any other questions for our presenters on this proposal?
Well, thank you for your time. And Madam Chairman, I'd like to ask you, did I answer your original question? Do you think that the development will generate enough revenue to cover the costs of its own 68 students and then some? Is that clear?
I appreciate the insight that you gave into your answer to my question. I think we will need to take some time. We're not going to vote on this tonight. We're going to need to take some time to go through the proposal, talk to the community, make sure that we have thought through any concerns, any questions that didn't occur to us at this time. But I appreciate your context around why you think that the number of students is likely to be accurate, and even if it's 50% too low, it's not materially changing the economics of the project from the district's perspective.
Exactly, right.
And the other thing here, just as a good way to end this for everybody, is this shows our project. What it doesn't show is the ripple effects and the ancillary effects of this project. So, I'd be speculating, but presumably this is going to have a very material, positive impact on the city of Coatesville. They really support it, hopefully you guys too, and I think this is one of the things, Coatesville hasn't had a project like this forever. So getting this off the ground, getting people into Coatesville, I think is going to have a substantial positive impact, so.
It certainly has the potential to have a more positive impact than that parking garage we talked about so many years ago.
That's what we're hoping, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes our presentations for this evening. Moving on with the agenda items. Letter A, that the Board of School Directors approve the financial statements and bills payables list as presented. So far, we only have the bills list. I think, Lori, we're waiting for some of these others that we'll have before the end of the month.
So we will have them on the agenda before the end of the month. That is correct.
Okay.
We had some delays with one of our staff members, so
Okay.
once they're back in full force, they had a death in their family, so once they're back in full force, we'll get all of these reports back up on the agenda.
Great. And we always pull the financial statements for the month-end
Yes.
meeting, so that is not a big deal. Are there any questions from board members on the bills list? Any questions from other members of the committee? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
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 Okay. It is so moved. Letter B, CCIU 2025-2026, IDEA, Section 611, and IDEA, Section 619 budgets and use of funds agreements. The schedules are attached. Do we have any questions from members of the committee on this item? Okay. Any questions from other members of the board? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Letter C, Giant Pharmacy Renewal to Immunization Administration Agreement for free flu vaccination clinic for staff. This is a opportunity for us to provide on-site flu vaccination to administrative staff members who choose to get it. Although it costs the district money, since we are self-insured, generally preventative expenditures are seen as providing value overall for healthcare costs, and providing it on-site easy access should also be seen as a benefit to our administrative staff. So this is during an in-service, which is why it's being done that day. So just to give a little bit of context on why we would choose to pay for this service to our staff members. Any questions from committee members on this?
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
It's all staff.
It's all staff?
All
Okay.
staff, yes.
Thank you. It was, I misunderstood it at prep. Is that the question? Okay.
Yep, you
Thank
read my mind. Thank you.
Any other questions from committee members? Any questions from the full board? Okay. All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Shauna, I'm sorry, did you? Okay, thank you. It is so moved. We now move on to letter D, CCRES, contract renewal. That the Board of School Directors approve the renewal with CCRES as presented. We've noted the changes in service costs relative to the prior year. You'll notice that the benefits consultant is no longer on there because we have hired someone full-time, and so no longer need to outsource that responsibility. Yay. Are there any questions from committee members on this item? Are there any questions from the full board? Okay. All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It is so moved. We then have a bunch of donations. So I'm actually going to do letter F first, and then we will bundle the rest of them, just because I want to give that a little bit of extra attention. So letter F is the Mucineri Family Foundation donation, that the Board of School Directors approve the donation from the Mucineri Family Foundation for their annual scholarship in the amount of $40,000. 8 students will be receiving $5,000 each this year. So this is a pretty cool one there. I think that's an annual donation. Any questions or comments?
Just what a very generous donation, and thank you.
It is, it is. It is really wonderful for the students who are getting that assistance, and very much appreciate the annual support from this family. Okay. Any other comments from board members? Okay. All in favor? Oh,
Yeah,
what?
how are these students picked? Did I just miss?
I'd have to. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. The family works in the STEM field. There's engineers, there's medical professionals, and all of the children and the parents contribute to this scholarship. So the students submit an application, and the way that it worked when it originally started was they wrote essays, and then the family helped to select the candidates. And not only did they give the scholarship money, but they also wanted to provide mentoring support while the students were in school. So they did a little bit of both, where they were in touch with the students to ensure that they were successful in their post-secondary endeavors. So that's how they chose it when I was principal at the high school, and now that it's expanding, I would imagine that it is a similar situation at the high school.
I have a question. I didn't really answer. So do they get that application from their guidance counselor? They have to be a STEM, I mean, how do our students know about the scholarship?
The scholarship is through school counselors, correct? And then it's pushed out through used to be Naviance, but now it'll be Smart Futures. There's a place where every student receives that information through the Smart Futures site, and they have a login to do it, and also through school counselors and announcements through the school.
And just to add to that, every student is taken through Smart Futures to know where on their portal page, where to locate those as well.
You know, that's always my concern.
Right, so we want to make sure every student knows the accessibility to each of these opportunities.
And the Smart Future, that's also like college applications too, or
So
no?
Smart Futures is the one that we purchased through Essers.
Okay.
It's Naviance on steroids.
Okay.
Because it's not just college, it's career and taking kids so if you're at the tech school and you want to go into vet school or veterinarian world, but you don't want to go to school, you could find a vet in the area that's willing to take on students right after like high school or during high school and do a co-op type of approach, and then they can explore that further.
But if they're looking into college, they're also putting their college essay on there and all that
They're
other
putting
stuff?
Naviance. Naviance still has the college
Gotcha.
essay piece. So
'Cause Juden's
Naviance still
doing
carries
something,
the
I don't know
common,
what it
the
is.
common app.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And
Naviance, or Smart Futures is working towards that.
Right.
But that's why we have both right now.
And each kid, each senior, each junior, I don't know when you start it, they are walked through that process.
They're walked through the process, and remember, we've now developed and implemented the College Career and Community Resource Center with Ms. Thompson.
Yes, mhm.
So she's working with students as well to bring them through and work through Naviance and Smart Futures.
So she'll hit every kid.
That's the goal, is to work through every student, but each guidance counselor has to ensure that each student has gone onto the portal,
Okay.
seen the information.
All right.
Thank you so much for the additional information on this very generous scholarship.
Oh, sorry.
You had
Too
another
late.
question? Yeah.
So this isn't the first year that this scholarship?
No, it's been around for many years. This is
So-
just the annual
So we can go
renewal.
back into our book, graduation book and see who received that award.
Yes. Yeah, and there's 2 students a year, and it actually goes to them for all 4 years of college. So it's not just a one-year, one-time scholarship. It's actually meant to help them year after year with their education.
One more quick question. Were you done,
No,
Donna?
I'm done.
Do they, I know it says help with college tuition for those going through financial hardship. Do you know, is there a metric or something we're determining, or they're determining what financial hardship is?
Yeah, there is a form in the application that the families submit
Okay.
for that.
Super.
Wonderful. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. It is so moved. I am going to bundle letters E, G, H, I, J, K, L, and M. The connection donation, 3 donors choose donations, ACR donation, NRIVA donation, Coatesville Second Century Alliance donation, and the Chester County Food Bank donation. There's some really cool donations in here. I encourage you to all take a look at them. But I think one that might be interesting just to understand a little bit more about from administration is, can you talk to us a little bit about the Chester County Food Bank donation and how we're going to implement that?
So the Chester County Food Bank donation is for one of our elementary schools right now. Almost a pilot. I mean, I would love to see this expand. In my previous roles in other districts, we had something very similar where a backpack goes home at the end of the week on Friday and has foods that are very easy to be able to make or put together. And it's enough meals. It's separated into breakfast, lunch, and dinner for each of the days. And then also holidays they do it for as well. So you have enough meals to cover you for that student for each mealtime of the day over that period of time.
Amazing.
And then they bring the backpack back, goes back to the guidance counselor, the school counselor, and goes back to the Chester County Food Bank, and they refill it again.
I like that.
So we're very appreciative of this opportunity, and I'm hoping it expands to all our schools at some point.
Me too. Any other questions or comments from committee members? Any questions or comments from the full board?
I have a question, the cash care, the one from Second Century Alliance.
Yes.
For the cash care, is that the second one they did? Because they gave a donation when they first opened. Is
Yeah.
that their second donation or the?
This would be a new donation,
Oh,
yes.
cool.
Yeah. It's additional, I think it's additional supplies for the same care closet to just make sure that it's all stocked and ready to go. Any other questions from board members? Okay. All in favor of moving these donations to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it is so moved. We do have, that concludes our agenda items. We do have our normal informational items, our account code legal fees, and our medical claims.
Just to point out, the medical claims is not loaded up yet as they are waiting for reports to be provided to us. They have a new portal system, so there's been some delays, but that will be added as well as soon as we receive those.
Thank you. We will go back and look at that later then. Okay, is there any old business? Any new business?
So I think one of the things we wanted to talk about a little bit tonight was where we are with the budget with the
Yes.
state. For anybody who doesn't know, we are at a budget impasse, which means the state has not approved the budget on time. This is causing some funding freezes on many of our programs and services, which leads to some uncertainties in how we're planning and our operations. And the one thing that we do know is this has lasted over 2 months. So still a lot of uncertainties based on this delay. It delays any basic ed funding that we're receiving, any special ed funding, any of the federal grants, which obviously disrupts cash flow and our ability to do planning. Some of the big challenges that we're facing is obviously we are heavily relying on our local funding to stay operational. We still don't really know what we're going to get from the state, so we don't know how that state allocation looks based on what we budgeted. And then there's still unknowns surrounding the charter school reform, which also impacts how we budget it. So a lot of unknowns. Some of the ways that we are kind of combating the unknowns is watching our cash flow, looking at our resources. If we have to, we will curtail some of the non-essential expenditures. Luckily, construction projects can continue because we got the bond financing for those projects. But we will just monitor where we are with our cash flow and just kind of keep everybody posted once we hear more from the state. I don't know that there's been much traction into where they're close to approving anything. But we feel like we are okay right now, but we will keep everybody posted on where we are when that comes to a final approval. The one thing we do kind of ask for is maybe get out there and ask for this budget to be approved here soon. And then also ask for going forward that there's more timely approval of budgets. Because as a reminder, we have to have ours done by June 30th with the unknowns of what the state's going to do for us.
Thank you for that report, and I would echo that, absolutely reach out, especially to leadership in both the House and the Senate, and the governor, just to urge them. And if I could ask a question too, you said that we're right now able to manage it through just watching cash flow. I know I've seen some districts have had to borrow money. Thankfully, I think we're not in that position.
No, but that is an option if we have to down the road. We've had to do that in the past, but we're not there right now. I know the state has also allowed for bond intercept, but if you recall, our biggest bond payment, which is over $12 million, was due by July 15th. So none of that helped us, but we had the funds to take care of that anyway. We have the option, if we want to defer our PSERS payment until we receive, some of the reimbursement from the state. We're kind of looking, I have a business manager meeting on Thursday, just kind of get a feel what other districts are doing. That's an option. But once we receive that funding, we have like 7 days to fund it. So we do have some options. We're just kind of watching, going status quo, just operation as usual currently. Just as a comparison to funding through last September, we received about $16.7 million. We've received $3.3 million so far this year, and that's from our state property tax reduction.
Okay.
So that's all we received so far. Everything else is from local revenues.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for that update, Lori. All right. Moving on to public comment, we have Lori Shannon Bailey. And Lori, you said you were going to speak on the Brandywine View presentation and the bills list. One more. There you go. You got it.
Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. I did not forget. So with the presentation, Madam President, I appreciated your questions about the rents because for a one-bedroom apartment to be rented however many years out, this development sounds at $1,700 per month sounds a little off. So if this is written here, are we holding this company to this amount, $1,700 per month for a one-bedroom apartment? That's my question. No. Okay, then why is it written here then? Somebody's shaking their head. The two-bedroom apartment, $2,000 per month. It says the proposed development consists of the following elements. So is he giving us false information? I don't understand why this information is here, because you all need to make decisions based on facts, not just some number that's coming out of the air. And I'm a landlord also, and I'm looking at a 4-bedroom for at least $2,500. I don't have a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, but these rents seem to be way off. My next question is, all of these legal fees, imagine if we had this money in a bank account somewhere, especially now. $145,609, $81,000. I mean, there's a lot of numbers on here. $11,938. I mean, ever since I've been an advocate in this community, I've been talking about legal fees.
Ms. Shannon Bailey, that's what we budgeted into those accounts. That's not what we spent so far this year.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, the school year just started. My point is, imagine if we didn't have to deal with these legal fees. Oftentimes, legal fees deal with some violation. Imagine if we didn't have these legal fees. That's where I'm going with this. If we didn't even have to deal with this in some form or fashion, especially if we're dealing with some violation of a child with an IEP, especially, and I don't know if that's the case. I pay taxes here for more than one property, so I think I'm speaking for the general public here. But anyway, I'm not trying to argue with any of you all. I'm glad that you budgeted for this amount, but let's try to eliminate the legal fees. Getting back to the Brandywine project, I wonder if this group would consider sustainable housing for low-income individuals. I mean, we need housing here tremendously, so I wonder if you all would ask this company to entertain sustainable housing for low-income families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon Bailey. Okay. And that concludes public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no one else signed up here. If you... Are you signed up for the Finance Committee or for a different committee?
I'm a resident of the area, and I came to represent some of the children in the area, those Coatesville school districts.
There are multiple committees tonight. If your comments relate to the Finance Committee agenda, we're happy to hear them now and have you write on the paper. If they're related to things on the Operations Committee meeting agenda, should it be on education? Okay. Ma'am, we're going to have you speak at education. It sounds like that's, okay. Thank you. You will have an opportunity for public comment on that topic then. Thank you. All right, this concludes public comment for the Finance Committee meeting. Our next meeting will be October 14th of 2025, and with that, I adjourn at 7:16 p.m. Are we going to education? Operations, okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's now Beth.
We good? All right, I'm calling to order a meeting of the Operations Committee for September 9th, 2025 at 7:16 p.m. I am Beth Brindle, the committee chair. I note the presence of committee members Liz Muirhead, Holly Charest, and Shauna Maxwell. My microphone's over here. And I don't think we have our employee representative present tonight. We do have a quorum, so we will move ahead with the meeting. I note that only committee members can approve agenda items moving to the full board agenda. So first up is the approval of the minutes from our August 12th meeting. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? All right, if not, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. We have Shauna and Holly.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes. Thank you. And then we do have a presentation tonight. We have a presentation by the Schrader Group and ICS, an update on our construction projects in the district.
Sorry.
I think a presentation. You can always just move that if you want.
You want to just leave it like that?
Sure.
I'll have to see.
Am I just clicking that way? Okay.
That or?
Yep. Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Good evening, David Schrader. So I'll represent the architecture. Matt Kelly from ICS will be talking about the construction. We were in front of you in June last, so hopefully you all had a good summer. Hopefully, you've also had a chance to drive around the district and see all the great things that have been happening as a result of the projects that are underway. So we'll try to give you a little bit of an update today. Starting real quickly with Reesville, then the 2 phases of North Brandywine, so you start to see how they tie in. Scott, then Doe Run, which I just had the chance to stop by and see how well that's going, and finally some updates on Kings Highway. So starting off with Matt.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me. And David here. So going into Reesville, this summer was very productive. So the addition for Reesville was completed, so the kids have moved into this, it was just amazing. We are currently just doing punch lists, so there's still some work in the building that we're working on and working to do closeout. So, that closeout includes any, final payments and making sure that all the punch lists are done. I have a few pictures here. This is a good one of the addition itself. These are a few pictures of the inside. Hall, corridor, bathroom, very, very nice building that was designed by Mr. Schrader here. So as far as North Brandywine, and again, I'm going to try to go quick here. So I know we have a lot to talk about. So the first phase of North Brandywine, again, this one was completed this summer. This shows you the pictures here. So the students have moved in. This is a nice picture of the outside. This is also constructed in order to have the second phase be attached to it, which Mr. Schrader will be going over here shortly. So similar to Reesville, this one is also, with punch lists, and also has a lot, the construction documentation, closeout documentation is underway. Few other pictures, couple other shots from different angles of the outside, and also some corridor pictures, some classroom pictures here on the far right. So if you have a chance to go by it, it turned out very well. It's very, very nice, and kids in there now. And then I'll turn this back over to talk about the middle school for phase 2.
So if anybody is asked, the interior is temporary. The material on the exterior is temporary. Okay, all of that is meant to make sure that we get the students in there quickly, to give them the space and so on. Even the corridors will be moved around. So what we built was a structure. So that was the goal of it. So just wanted to give you the North Brandywine update. The facility, we're intending to get all of the documents complete for that at the end of the fall semester here, with bids coming in early in the spring and construction starting next year during the summer. So we're moving very well. We've got approvals more or less in place. They're moving along very nicely. The project looks to be in a good position to meet these deadlines, as you see. The addition that you've seen on the hillside is the white on the right here. So the white rectangle adjacent to the building. What will happen is we will build the new building to the right of that, and then as all of that is completed, the existing middle school will be taken down. So this is a good shot of Reesville Elementary on the left, Reesville Road at the bottom, and then the middle school. The intent of this project is to have the site look like that. So the entry drive from Reesville will come into a small roundabout. You can go left on that to go to Reesville. You can go right to come down into the parent drop-off area in front of the building. And then there's a playing field parking lot, which will also be a staff parking lot directly straight ahead as you drive, with the bus parking on the right-hand side coming in from Freedom, adjacent to or across from Freedom Boulevard. So that's the intent. The upper left-hand corner of that building is the current building that we've just constructed. And I wanted to share this image because I'm going to give you a series of images as you took a right off the driveway, came down the hill, and started to go around the building. The first thing that you see up in the left-hand corner is what that classroom wing will look like. So it'll get the same cladding, same exterior materials as the balance of the building, and it's actually constructed to have a pitched roof on it to match the pitched roofs of the rest of the building. So that's why all of that was constructed in the way it was constructed, with temporary materials on the exterior so that it can be melded into the balance of the building.
So as you come down around the corner and into that front parking lot, you'll see 2-story classroom structures that will have these classroom clusters. The goal, as you may remember, is to break these student groups down to 125 to 150 student groups. So it'll be small schools within a larger school, which is a great way to handle a middle school. Come around, there's a main entry. The gymnasium will be on your right, as will be the auditorium for the building. And we're just kind of circulating around quickly here. Main entry point, which will go by a secure entry through the administrative structure. What you name the school is up to you. Right now, there's a placeholder there. It's North Brandywine Middle School. I'm sure that will be a topic of conversation of yours at some point as well. And this is just going around towards where the bus entry point is. You're looking at the end of the gymnasium and the bus drop-off area with a covered walkway on the right-hand side of this image. As you come around the back side of the building, you'll have a student dining area and some outdoor area as well. So it'll be a beautiful building from the exterior. It'll have some similarities to Doe Run. So you'll have 2 buildings that look like they're of the same era at that point. We just wanted to give you some quick looks at the interior. As you come in the front door, if you went to the right from the image that you're in, you'd actually be over in our community spaces, the auditorium, the gym, the dining space. This is the entry to the academic areas. The media center or library will be the core of that, so you're seeing a stairway that goes up next to that to connect the 2 floors of classroom wings. We're moving in closer to the actual media center library area. And once you're in the library, you can look out. There's a courtyard between all of the spaces, so there's actually kind of a learning court in the middle of the building, which is accessible from that library space as well. So folks can go out there in nice weather. This is that typical learning cluster. So that has a series of classrooms around it, breaking each of these student groups down to 125 to 150 students. All of the colors that we're showing are just representative. At some point in time, we'll make some final selection of colors throughout the building as well. These are the typical classrooms that'll be adjacent to that. If anybody's been out towards the Phoenixville Harris Hill building, there's similarities to the way that this is constructed, and that is constructed in very much like Doe Run as well. This is just looking down the main corridor. On your right here is the auditorium. Straight ahead would be the dining space, and just looking back at that courtyard towards the media center. This is a gymnasium, bringing daylighting into that space so that it's a bright space. The auditorium space, and then finally the dining space, which looks out on that back patio area that I showed you earlier.
Moving into Scott Middle School. So this is a picture here. We did finish the inside of the building. This is a nice picture of the gymnasium that was refinished and restriped and everything. Turned out very nice. The interior is complete with all the students in there now. Nice refresh on painting, cabinets, flooring. The exterior is going to be completed by probably within the next week. We were able to open up the majority of the front entrance this week. So last week we had worked closely with Jeff Brazil and the principal to make sure that we were able to have all the students still come in for that week. And so that is past us, and now we're into being able to finish that within the next week. So it turned out beautiful. It's coming together really nicely. Reason it went into the year a little bit, we had some weather and we had some unknown conditions that came up. So still pushing to have all that done and working into punch lists and finishing everything up. The other part of that was the roofing that was completed, that started last year and was finished up this year as well. So a couple other pictures. Here's some of the sidewalk of the front, some of the refreshed auditorium and some of the refreshed parking spots there in the parking area there in the handicap spot. So turning out very nice, very nicely. A couple other pictures of the cafeteria and the media center here also, with showing some of the nice new flooring in there. Doe Run. This one you can really see from the street now. There's been a lot completed since our last meeting in June. I think there was really just underground work and a lot of site work going on at Doe Run. Now you're really starting to see the structure and the steel, as you can see on the right side there. Really the foundations, those are complete. A lot of there's one more section that we'll be finishing up with slab on grade and then followed by the steel. We are looking to try to have the building enclosed by the end of the year. That way we can start having temporary conditioning in there to really start going at it with the rough-in and finishes. We are able to start the MEP rough-in on several areas of the building as well. So all the coordination with the mechanical, electrical, plumbing has been done, and they're able to start fabricating and getting those things in place. So it's made a lot of good progress, and a year from now we'll be doing a grand opening on this beautiful building. So it's going to be great. A couple other pictures of the construction. Some of the some more steel shots, some more exterior shots, some shots of some cranes and some other underground work. This is probably the last area where we'll have some slab on grade that we'll be putting in, which should be done probably by the end of the month here. So I'll hand it back over for Kings Highway.
Okay, and just wrapping it up with Kings Highway. We are in process. We're at what we call the design development phase, and so we're kind of holding right now at the design development phase. We were in the Township Planning Commission. Township Planning Commission requested that we do a traffic study of the roadways in front and the intersections adjacent to Kings Highway. So we're just going to hold on the design development phase until we get the results of that and can get back in front of the township to continue the land development process. So look for an update to the schedule there. Just to give you some sense of what's going on, at least in the design work, we are looking at new canopy entry at the front, and much like what Matt just described for Scott, we will be doing quite a bit of interior refresh and all systems replacement, new mechanical, new electrical, new plumbing, and so on. So just some of the samples of where folks are heading with some of the interior work. The Library Media Center will be completely refreshed, all new to match many of the other buildings in the district. This is just two different views of that. The cafeteria will receive a refresh, again, all new finishes. You will feel as you go into the building like the interior is a new building. So that's the intent of all of this. The classrooms will all feel fresh and new. This is very much like the classrooms that you will see at Doe Run, very much like the classrooms that you'll also see at North Brandywine Middle School. So just a quick preview of what all of the spaces will look like. It'll be a great way to handle Kings Highway's renovations. So little update. We'd entertain questions that anybody has at this point.
Thank you. It's exciting to see everything taking shape, especially Doe Run, seeing that being built. Any questions from committee members or other board members?
I just want to encourage the rest of my board. Steve and I were able to go to each of the places, and I mean, beautiful work, like great job. The light, the windows are great. The hallways are small, but you cleared that up. Thank you. You cleared that up. Only at North, but yeah. Temporary, yep, temporary. But I would encourage all of you guys to, take a look at the work that they've done. It's really amazing. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to agenda items. Let me see. Agenda item A. I'm sorry, making sure I'm on the right thing here. recommended action that the Board of School Directors ratify the proposal from Kencor LLC for the labor and material necessary for repairs to Scott Middle School's non-functional chairlift for a total cost of $14,278.01 as presented. Any questions or comments from committee members? Questions from the full board? All right. Hearing no further discussion, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item B, Extreme Insulation, that the Board of Directors approve the agreement with Extreme Insulation, Inc. to replace missing or damaged insulation to help control condensation at Coatesville Area Senior High School at a total cost of $5,200 as presented. Any questions or comments from committee members? From the full board? Hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Item C, that the Board of Directors approve the proposal from Unitex Asphalt Services for asphalt repairs at Coatesville Area Senior High School at a total cost of $4,795 as presented. Any questions from the committee members? And I'll just note, this was for some areas near the stadium. There was, that were not previously done as part of the paving work that was done over the summer. So some pothole repair and getting rid of a tripping hazard where there was a little dip. So, all right. So if no further questions, say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Letter D, Graphics on the Move LLC, that the Board of Directors approve the estimate from Graphics on the Move for a hand-painted mural at Reesville Elementary School in the amount of $6,945 as presented. Any questions from committee members?
I do have a question about this. I know that there was I think it was a donated mural from a community member at Rainbow last year. I wasn't sure, is this mural being painted because of the extension of the building? Like what's behind this mural being painted? And is the funding coming from a particular source or is it coming from the budget?
So I apologize for any confusion. It's not a mural. It's a graphic
Okay.
that Mr. Brazil has worked with Dr. Cole over at Reesville on. So you just
So
want to explain?
just to touch base on this, this is part of the overall redo of the playground. So
It's for the playground.
It's for the playground.
Got it,
So
okay.
I came up here just to make a note because Lori's going to laugh. We did have a previous quote from the contractor doing the playground of upwards of $34,000
To do this
for
painting?
this same thing. So
So this is like the way that they have sometimes like, the 50 states painted on the playground, stuff like
yeah,
that?
this is their Raptor though. So the company that has done the murals in the building, which is really cool if you've been in there,
Yes.
I talked to the principal up there and Sherry, told them reach out. They came back, and we could do it for $27,000 less. And that's why it's running through us and not the addition or the contractor. So, and the hand painting will last longer. So this will finalize the playground repaving and the games, duck, goose, goose, and everything else. So, and the overall thing came in far below. I think it was not to exceed 140, and I think we're only at maybe 120, somewhere around there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Any further questions? All right, seeing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Letter E, Weaver Landscaping Services, can I bundle E and F here? Weaver Landscaping Services, Kings Highway Elementary, and letter F, Weaver Landscaping Services, mulch removal and weeding at Calne and Kings Highway. That the Board of School Directors approve the estimate from Weaver Landscaping Services for the removal and disposal of soil and stump grindings and the installation of stone, asphalt, and topsoil and seed at Kings Highway Elementary School in the amount of $4,635. And then mulch removal and disposal of existing playground mulch and weeding at Callan and Kings Highway in the amount of $2,750. And as I understand that, that's to make the playground safer, some weed control, and get rid of mulch that's been accumulated there for years.
Yeah, I had questions about that
Yeah.
because I think I saw from parents that this was not done before school started. So I want to, first of all, find out why wasn't it done before school started? And is it done now? And was it done late because we didn't schedule it and we got complaints? Or was it done late because we scheduled it, but it wasn't done on time? Like, can you help us with that?
So it was scheduled, but instead of putting mulch on top of mulch on top of mulch, I wanted Weaver to, our contractor, to go in, remove the old mulch, and remove the weeds, which is a whole separate billing that's not part of their contract. So I did delay it. It was only by 1 or 2 days. So they were weeded, the excess mulch was removed. I think the kids came back 2 days earlier. It was placed there Friday. They placed the mulch on Saturday. Monday, everything was good. So I just didn't want, they've been putting mulch on top of mulch for years. It doesn't make any sense, so. We're going to do a whole different approach moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments from committee members or the board? All right, seeing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board agenda.
Yes.
Yes. Let's see, letter G, MIH Systems Group. That the Board of School Directors approve the quote from MIH Systems Group, formerly HC9 Service Company, for repairs to the AAON units at Reesville Elementary School in the amount of $26,730 as presented. Questions from the committee? And from the full board? Seeing none, please say yes if you approve moving this forward to the board agenda.
Yes.
Yes. Letter H, Campus Service Group. That the Board of Directors approve the Campus Service Group CASD 2025-26 school year cost amendment, which includes the addition of a part-time employee for 6 evening hours at Reesville Elementary School and a full-time employee on a hybrid 8-hour shift at North Brandywine to address additional staffing needs as presented. Any questions from committee members?
Yes, can you give us a sense for what the additional staffing needs are that are falling outside of the school day?
This is for the added square footage. Sorry. This is for the added square footage for the 2 new additions. That was not part of the renewed contract.
Oh,
For custodial.
it's for custodial. Okay.
Custodial for Campus Service Group that does our cleaning of our facilities.
Got it. So this is adding personnel to cover new square footage.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And, okay, letter I, Network Connections, North Brandywine Security Camera Change Order, that the Board of Directors approve the proposal from Network Connection, Inc. for camera relocation at North Brandywine in the amount of $2,602.95 as presented. Any questions from committee members? Any from other board members? All right, please say yes if you approve moving this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Letter J, Consensus Cloud Solutions for District eFax Services, that the Board of School Directors approve the proposal from Consensus Cloud Solutions for annual district eFax service in the amount of $11,394 as presented. And that is $200 more than the 2024 school year cost, so not too significant an increase. And I appreciate, Rich was nice enough to get me some figures on this because I was questioning how much are we really using fax service, but it turns out several thousand pages a month, so still a service that seems like it's necessary. So any questions from other committee members or from other members of the board? Hearing no further discussion, please say yes if you support recommending this to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And let's see. Letter K, CDWG Lenovo laptops, that the Board of Directors approve the proposal from CDWG for Lenovo laptops in the amount of $34,125 as presented. And any questions from board members?
I just had a question on who are these laptops for, and is this part of a scheduled device replacement?
And I understand this was budgeted in the IT budget. Is there, I don't know if you can give any more information about.
Mr. Oliver can come up and provide that information.
So, yeah, it was scheduled for replacement. Working on a 5-year replacement for everything that we have, from iPads, Chromebooks, and other such pieces that we've not had in the past. It is for my department.
So that's why they need the souped-up models.
Well, we're doing a couple things to.
These are high-end laptops, right? So these are not for.
Well, yeah, so they're actually touchscreen. They're actually flip screen. They actually have a pen, and they have a fingerprint reader as well as facial recognition. So moving towards, in our next phase of computers, passwordless computers, so people don't have to have passwords. You use the bio or your face like we do our phones. Some way to protect us a little more. It's a testing phase, and sure, we could use something with a little more power with the stuff that we do. Additionally, you may see a change because this quote did not include warranty, as I got other quotes to compare. And I have another vendor selling us the same device with a 4-year replacement or warranty at the same cost of just this one with the normal manufacturer of one. So we did work with Lenovo to get better pricing, but there's not too many comparable models to really bring it up to one-on-one comparison. So you may see that different on the official board meeting in 2 weeks, but we'll note that we'll cancel this motion and make the motion for the new vendor. Did I answer your questions, Ms.
You
Liz?
did, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any further questions from committee members or other board members? Please say yes if you support recommending this to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And I guess I could have bundled these, but letter L, CDWG Smart Rack Enclosure Cabinet, that the board approve the proposal from CDWG for Smart Rack Enclosure Cabinet in an amount not to exceed $1,451.77 as presented. Any questions from committee members?
Is this, Mr. Oliver, is the smart rack like for the server? Is that my understanding?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions from members of the board? Hearing no further discussion, please say yes if you support recommending this to the board agenda.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And let me get back here. Letter M, Van Strijn Consulting LLC, that the Board of School Directors approve the proposal for renewal of Category 1 and Category 2 E-rate eligible services funding year 2026-27 as presented, and there is no cost increase from the previous year. Any questions from members of the committee? From the full board? Hearing none, please say yes if you approve moving this to the full board agenda.
Yes.
Yes. And finally, letter N, that the Board of Directors approve the proposal from IU 13 for Windows 10 extended annual support in an amount not to exceed $1,210 as presented. And any questions or comments from members of the committee or from the full board? Hearing none, please say yes if you support moving this item forward to the board agenda.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right, and that concludes our agenda items. I do not have any informational items tonight. No old business, any new business, and public comment. Thank you. All right. Ms. Jerry Allen? and I should read, the board has requested all persons making comments on agenda items list their name, address, telephone number, and motion items. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. The board does not take action or discuss items not appearing on the agenda. The board values public comments and wishes to convey that all board members cannot discuss items that are not on the agenda. We listen carefully and appreciate and value input from the public. So thank you, Ms. Allen.
My name is Miss Jerry Allen, and I'm a lifelong resident of Coatesville area. I came in behalf of my girls' step team called the Coatesville Diamond Divas. I came to ask, would you please, we would like to do an event February 21st at the auditorium at Cash. And I was wondering if it would be possible for y'all to waive the fees for that event, because all the kids that I deal with come from Coatesville, and they go to Coatesville School District. We are a non-profit organization right now. We just got our paperwork, and I'm working on getting to know the ins and outs and how that goes about. But right now, it's all coming from, friends and family and myself, and we really can't afford it. So I'm asking, would you please consider letting us use the building at zero cost, February the 21st, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a process?
Thank you.
So there's a process, I don't know off the top of my head, that you can fill out a policy. We'll figure that out.
Okay, and I can say that I did fill out the form and everything, and I was looking at the fees and stuff, and that's what made me come, okay?
That probably won't be an issue. You just need to fill out those forms, and he said 707, right?
Yes.
707. So fill out those forms, the ARs, and then who do you want him to?
Just stop and see me. We'll get your phone number. I'll give you a call.
Okay then.
All right.
And I did leave the forms down at the administration building down on Lincoln Highway, and I know the lady is out for funeral. Okay.
Thank you. We will make sure we touch base.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Lori Shannon Bailey.
Good evening. A year ago, maybe not even a year ago, I had asked you all to consider geothermal heating and other types of green energy for the new school, and that fell on deaf ears. So we haven't heard anything about how or what is the mode of energy or the electricity, or whether or not you're using any green school initiatives to promote the new buildings or the new construction project we have seen tonight. I'll just read a little bit of information in reference to the presentation. So in terms of these beautiful projects that we saw earlier, green school programs promote environmental sustainability in educational institutions, empowering students to become environmental stewards by reducing waste, conserving energy and water, and implementing sustainable practices in their schools and communities. These programs offer benefits including cost savings, improved student learning, enhanced leadership skills, and community recognition, often through hands-on projects like school gardens, recycling drives, and cleanup events. And there's a whole slew of information on how green schools programs work. So my ask is, are you considering these types of educational programs as we move into this construction mode for these projects? Certainly, these are wonderful opportunities, wonderful learning opportunities. From a taxpayer perspective, it would certainly save the district money as well as taxpayers. So I will be emailing you all the information I just read and looking for some feedback at some point on this information. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next committee meeting will be on Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. And Do I have, all right, if there's no other business, I didn't know if I needed a motion. If there's no other business, I adjourn the Operations Committee meeting at 7:53 PM.
Which I think education is me next, I believe. Okay. I would like to call to order the Education Committee meeting for September 9th, 2025. This evening, I note the presence of myself, committee member Robin Seagreaves, also Donna Rowland, and Steve Wilson. Excused is Elgin Bailey, and our employee representative, Hannah Capter. We do have a quorum, so I'll move ahead with the meeting. I know only committee members can approve agenda items, or move them forward to the full board. The next is the approval of the minutes from August the 12th meeting. Are there any questions or comments from the committee members or the board regarding the minutes or any corrections? Seeing none, if you agree to move these for approval tonight, please say yes.
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 Yes. They are approved. Okay. We do not have any presentations this evening, so I will move right into agenda items. I was going to bundle A, B, and C, if that's okay. A is ratification, and B and C are renewals of contracts that we already are, or services, support systems we're already using. So for Acadiance Voyager, that was a ratification. There was a minor increase in the cost, $10,760 to $11,505. The frontline education renewal, which is B, is a cost of $12,938.31. That's for professional learning management, and it's unlimited usage for internal employees as presented. And that was a minimal increase from $12,561.47. And again, we do appreciate knowing what things cost before. And then the third is the CAMI resource renewal. This is a district-wide instructional tool that is $9,000 as presented. And it's an interactive digital learning platform. It allows teachers and students to annotate and collaborate and engage with instructional materials in real time. So I would like to ask the committee members if anyone has any questions. This also was a minimal increase from $8,750 to $9,000. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the committee for A, B, and C? No? Anyone on the full board? Seeing none, if you'd like to move this forward for the full board meeting, please say yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Goodness. Then we have D. Whoops. What just happened there? Computer went crazy. D, technology professional development. This is that the Board of School Directors approve the development and implementation of professional learning opportunities and instructional technology. And this is based on teacher feedback from the Title II Needs Assessment Survey. We love surveys, so thank you for doing a survey and finding out what teachers are looking for. In the amount of $9,400 as presented, and funding for this initiative is through the Title II funds. This professional development provides staff with the training and resources necessary to effectively integrate technology into their daily instruction and to maximize student learning outcomes. And we'll be using a combination of in-house as well as outside presenters from the CCIU. Does anyone have any comments or questions about that on the committee?
No.
No? Anyone on the full board?
Can I just,
Yes.
are these Title II funds, have we received those Title II funds yet? Or, I mean, I know we will eventually.
We will eventually, but we have a carryover from last year.
Good,
That we're
okay.
utilizing these funds.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. If you would like to move this forward for the board approval, please say yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Okay, then we have a new resource presented, No Red Ink, under E. And this is the School Board of Directors approved the adoption of No Red Ink for the senior high school only as a supplemental instruction tool in the amount of $9,995.60 as presented. This resource supports teachers in strengthening student writing and grammar skills, which provides personalized practice for learners and enhances overall student achievement. in alignment with our district goals. The program adjusts to each student's level, and it provides targeted support and allowing teachers to monitor progress in real time. It integrates with existing curriculum and is aligned to state standards, making it flexible, a flexible supplemental tool. So last year we did this as a little pilot, and it was $0. And so this year the cost, well, it was $0 for the students, $1,650 for just 20 teachers who did it as a pilot. So extending it out, it would now be $9,995.60. And the teachers who used it had a lot of great things to say about it as a really helpful resource. Is there anyone who has questions on the committee? Seeing none, anyone on the full board? All right, if you'd like to move this forward for full approval, please say yes.
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 Yes. Okay. We are on F, which is harnessing resilience, strategies to empower educators in a time of change. And this is that the Board of School Directors approved the purchase of the professional learning program, Harnessing Resilience, Strategies to Empower Educators in a Time of Change, for use in year 2 of the district's new teacher induction program. The program is providing educators with practical strategies to build resilience, manage change, and sustain their effectiveness in the classroom, ensuring that new teachers are supported in developing both instructional skills and professional well-being. The final cost is going to be determined by the number of participants, and the quote will be available after committee, but before the regular board meeting. So I don't have the final quote quite yet. Does anyone have questions about that resource? Or, I'm sorry, the training, the program for new teachers? Anyone on the full board? Seeing none? So with the caveat that we'll get some final numbers, is it okay that we move this to the full board? Please say yes.
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 Yes. Then I would like to group together G and H, since they are both out-of-state field trips. One field trip is, I don't know who this is for. Yes, I do. One is for Student Union, one is for German department. And we don't talk about where they go for their safety. So if you have any questions, please, let us know later. Just kidding. Does anyone have any comments on the committee or on the full board? No. If you'd like to move this forward for approval, please say yes.
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 Yes. Okay, so F and G moves forward. I'm sorry, G and H. Now we are at I, which is the Agreement for Student Assistance Program Liaison from Devereaux as presented. This is a pupil services resource. And if there's any questions, does anyone have questions about this, or do you want to give a little bit of a background on what that is?
I'm going to invite Ms. Snyder to the microphone for the Student Assistance Program. So just while she's coming to the mic, this is a program that is required by the state for students' assistance when they identify students for concerns about well-being, their health, their mental health status, their behaviors, and this is an opportunity to provide outside resources. But I'm going to let Ms. Snyder explain what Devereaux provides in regards to this, this process.
So Devereaux Foundation provides a liaison who comes and works with our school-based teams. And that person's role is to do the intake. So if a student is referred, for example, for a mental health issue, she would do the intake for that student and then contact the family and work with the family to provide additional counseling support if that is warranted, working with their own private insurance to help that counseling get scheduled. So her role is to do that, and then she also follows up and meets with the students to check in with them frequently. So once we receive parent permission, she cannot do that. I kind of buried the lead on that. She doesn't meet with students unless parents give permission for her to do so. And once she receives that, then she will follow up with them as well. And she always, to the best of her ability, will work with the SAP-based teams just to discuss student needs and concerns.
I do have one question. I don't see any like figure or money or what's the cost of this, or is this part of a program?
Robin, I don't know if it's not on there, but I will find out
I don't see it
for you.
within the document, or am
Yeah.
I crazy?
No, I looked.
Or is there missing executive content?
No, I don't know that, but let me check my email, because there very well could be that I missed another piece of it. So I'll look for you and get back to you with that answer. I'll email you.
Okay. So,
Okay.
Yep, is this a renewal of an agreement that we've already been in participation with?
Yes, we've been in agreement with this organization for many years.
Okay. It would
And
just
we've
be
had
nice to
the
know
same.
what the new terms are.
I'm sorry, Robin. Go ahead. Say that again.
Oh, it would just, we would like to see what the new terms are and how they compare to the old terms.
Sure, no
if any.
problem. And the same person has been within our schools for a very long time and has a very positive relationship with our families.
Absolutely, and I've
Yes.
heard the same.
Okay.
If anyone, so we can agree to move this forward as long as we get the additional content for the full voting.
Okay.
Is that good? Okay. Does everyone have anyone else have questions about the program or this item? Anyone on the full board? Seeing none, if you agree to move this forward, once we get additional, information, please say yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
And then we have letter J, which is that the Board of School Directors approve with On-Track Plus user agreement as presented. And this is a college planning tool that incentivizes students to complete tasks associated with career and college planning. The incentives include dual enrollment opportunities, gift cards, and scholarships. And this tool will be used in the Cash College and Career Center. And why did I think this was free? You went and sat down. It is free. Okay, it is free. So does anyone have any questions about this resource? Or comments? No? Okay. Anyone on the full board?
How-
Go
just-
ahead.
This may be for Michelle or not. Just awareness with student body. Like, how are we integrating this if this is new for student awareness?
So students have to apply, right, Michelle? Am I correct? They have to apply to the program? For On-Track. How they select it, I know, because I went to the banquet at the end of the year last year where multiple scholarships were presented to individual students from Philadelphia and Delaware County. The Newland Foundation has been incorporating this into their programs that they do down at the End Solutions Building the last couple of years, and they've had one or two students who have been participating. But we were approached and asking if we would be willing to extend the program, and seeing the value of it, that students are more engaged with the process of identifying whether they want to go to college and be supported through that process.
And they get credits for like doing the modules that help them learn about the process of applying for schools and all of the tracks that they can take.
Correct.
And then they're awarded these awards based on what modules they complete, or they are put into a pool for scholarships,
Right.
correct?
They're
That's correct.
incentivized to
Right.
participate.
Mm-hmm.
So then
So it's
they
a
get
self-participation
additional
program that they
rewards.
can earn rewards by participating in.
And again, the question is, how do we make sure that all parents and students get this information, and hopefully the College and Career Center will direct them or pull them in?
So this is a small, it's not a small, but it's a pilot group that they're going to use in our college and career readiness centers, targeting specifically our students, first the seniors, then the juniors, who really who are not demonstrating proficiency in their Act 158, which is their college and career readiness. So this program is going to be used with those students who really don't have a plan to begin to build their knowledge in college and career applications. And then the guidance counselors and the career center will use it for other students as well. And the good part about this is, as Robin said, the more that you use this system, the more scholarships and incentives you can receive. like the ability to enroll in dual enrollment classes. So many of our underclassmen will benefit in that kind of thing, but they also did scholarships, as Dr. Robarczyk mentioned, and laptop giveaways at the program.
This seems exciting to me. I think whenever I see these or similar opportunities for our student body, my mind always goes to what demographic of our students are taking advantage of it. And I think in whatever cases we're able to pull that data, I think that's beneficial because I believe, I'll speak for myself in a moment, but we want to see increased participation from the portions of our student body that are not taking advantage of these things yet.
Yes.
Or taking a small. So I think the creative thinking that we're looking for is, this looks wonderful. I'd love to see in a year from now us say, okay, we increased this demographic that wasn't taking advantage of this a year ago by X%. Or, does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is exciting, but my mind always goes to that is, who's taking advantage of this and how can we make it more inclusive?
That's exactly the goal.
That's
Just
the
like
goal.
we're doing with the prize program at Westchester
Mhm.
University and trying to offer teacher education programs for our students, especially of minority, to become teachers and come back to our district and everything. That's what our overall goal is trying to achieve. We've only had it for 1 year so far. So yes, but we are going to follow those cohorts to determine whether these programs are effective and for us and what we're trying to achieve.
Tony, will our communications person put that information out on social media?
Oh, yeah, we will be putting out information. We'll be working with the College Career and Community Resource Center, which is Thompson, getting this information out to students, working with our school counselors. But yes, this will all be put out to all our students.
Are there any other questions? No? Seeing none, if you'd like to move this forward, please say yes.
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 And then Education Committee, if I may, the Student Assistance Program Liaison Agreement, there's no cost to that.
Okay.
There's no cost.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
And when and if this is approved, we can also be putting the website, which I will send you the link to the website, but we can also attach this to our own website and everything and make sure that it gets out through communications, like you're saying, through ThrillShare, our social media, and whatever other approaches we need to take to make sure that it's being advertised.
There's no cost for the Student Assistance Program Liaison? Did I just hear that correctly? Okay.
We like free.
That's just checking my ears, that's all.
Okay. Okay, so now I think that takes us to K, if I'm not mistaken, and this is that the Board of School Directors approve the contract and service agreement with Maureen Feo, if I did that right, I hope, doing business as Scopic Psychoeducational Services, LLC, as a contracted school psychologist for overflow to supplement our district school psychologists. And this is just filling a need that we have for our students that need to be serviced. We just don't have quite enough on staff. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Seeing none, anyone on the full board?
I just want to clarify, this is an as-needed basis. This is no cost. If we don't use this contract, we don't pay anything. There's nothing to it. But I'm assuming we are going to need to.
Right.
Rely on those services at some point.
Okay, and if you agree to move this forward, please say yes.
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 Yes. And then L, the Smart Futures District licensing, that the Board of School Directors ratify the purchase of Smart Futures District licenses, giving unlimited access to smartfutures.org resources for the students K-12 in the district, which is approximately 5,350 students at a cost of $15,125 as presented. And we talked about Smart Futures earlier. And that this is was going to sort of replace a bit of Naviance, but supplement it in the meantime.
More or less supplement
Yeah.
than replace it, but yes.
Maybe someday.
It's really going to extend the opportunities for students to do their searches and broaden their experiences. What's available to them, not just college-wise, but career and community resources.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions or comments regarding this on the committee? Anyone on the full board? No? Then if you agree to move this forward, please say yes.
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 Yes. And then, sorry. Whoops, over here. That concludes all of our agenda items. I gotta remember what we do next, just kidding. Okay.
Can I step in for one second?
Yes, I know you wanted to give
So
some
we have the
comments.
informational items, which is the enrollment numbers as of August 31st, 2025. But also, I just wanted to make a public announcement that we sent out via ThrillShare and social media, and there will be paper copies available at various locations throughout the district at businesses and other organizations to apply to be on the Comprehensive Planning Committee, which is the planning of our goals for the next 3 years and what we hope to achieve as a district. It is an application process because we would love to have as many people, but you also cannot have a room of 200 people at once and trying to work through that process. So we welcome anyone to apply, and we will work through those applications and determine the best, a diverse set of stakeholders that we can put at the table to work through the goals.
Absolutely. Is there any other informational items from other committee members or administration?
I don't have an informational item, but I did notice that we do have the enrollment reports here. And I wanted to point out that there is actually a significant improvement in charter school enrollment versus district enrollment. So according to that report, we have a net decrease of charter school students of about 85. But if you look at the bricks and mortar charter schools, which is where we have the most exposure, Collegium, it looks like we've had a decrease of about 120 students there, a modest increase to Avon So the majority of that is actually a net decline from bricks and mortars, a modest increase from to some of the cyber charters. I also noticed when we were looking at our own enrollment that we've had a really nice increase in our own cyber charter program enrollment. So it seems like that program is attracting more students and going strong. So I wanted to point that out since this is there's such a meaningful financial impact of our enrollment there. And it's really nice to see some of the efforts that have been put in place actually leading to better enrollment reports for our charter school students.
Thank you. I almost forgot informational items, and that's extremely important to point out. Thank you. Okay, is there any old business or any new business? Okay, then we will move to public comment. The board has requested all persons making comment of public concern list their name, address, telephone number, and topics. On the sheet provided, there's a 3-minute time limit per person, and time may not be yielded to another. Our first speaker, is this Miss Allen? Did she leave? I guess because she spoke? Okay, no problem. Yep. And then Miss Lori Shannon Bailey.
Thank you. Good evening. Regarding the agreement for student assistance program, again, as was said earlier, how do parents know about that program? And we are a district that is in need of programs like that. Right now, I'm advocating for a student whose mother is in jail. Another student had surgery last year and is dealing with some other trauma-like issues. So my concern is that the information may not be getting to those children, those students who need to get it desperately. So I'd really be interested in knowing what intentionally are you doing to make sure that this information get to those marginalized or needy students that could really benefit from these types of programs, because they sound absolutely amazing. Even the On Track Plus agreement, even for students who are not marginalized, or for families who support their students, how are families aware of that? When my children were in school, I didn't leave it up to them to be responsible for the day-to-day things that they needed, that they encountered at school. They have a lot on their minds. Their little brains can only take so much, even at the high school level. And it seems like, and I'm not trying to complain, but it seems like there is an overwhelming effort for parents or guardians not to be involved during the school process. And if I'm wrong, show me I'm wrong. But I think in general, the district should, the board should do more to engage parents and engage guardians so that they know about these programs and they can urge or encourage, students to at least to the degree that they can, the on-track program I'm talking about now, to make sure they follow up on these programs, especially with regards to scholarships. I know that there's a lot of scholarships in this district, and I know that many minority students haven't always been able to take advantage of those. So that would be my guidance on that area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. So our next meeting will be held on October 14th, 2025. And if there's no other business, I adjourn the education meeting at 8:20 p.m.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the Policy Committee. I am the chairperson, Holly Charest. I note the presence of Vice Chairperson Donna Rowland, as well as board members Beth Brindle and Liren Yako. I do not see our employee representative, Amy Brown. With that, I am going to move on to Section 2, approval of the minutes. The recommended action is to approve the August 12th, 2025 Policy Committee meeting minutes. Committee members, any questions or clarifications to the minutes? If there are none, we will move those minutes into record. We have no presentations this evening, so I will move on to Section 4, agenda items. Mr. Barbetta, I have a question. Is there permission of me to group the items that are listed as second reading, or do I have to do them individually?
No, not at all. So all the second readings are back here from last month.
Okay.
And it would be totally appropriate at this juncture to lump them together, and if there are any questions or comments, that we can address them individually.
Okay, good, very good. Thank you. So with that, I am going to group items, agenda items 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, and 4F, and 4G. These are all revisions to policies that were made that were presented last month. Policy 137, Policy 209.2, 222, 249, 626, 802, and 803. To my board colleague, or my committee colleagues, do you have any questions or information you want to ask about them? General board, any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, please say yes.
Yes.
If you would like to move these along for approval by PSBA.
I love you. Yes.
Yes. Love you, Donna. Okay.
We all feel it.
Moving, I'll go as promptly as I can. Okay, moving on to agenda item H, which is Board Policy 003, Functions First Reading. The action is to have the Board of School Directors review Board Policy 003 for a first reading. This policy was edited for formatting, and there was also a purpose section added and using existing language. To my colleagues, are there any questions regarding this policy? If there are none, please say yes if you would like to move this policy to a second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we will move that forward for second reading. Letter I, Board Policy 115, Career and Technical Education, first reading. So we are going, the review was done for Policy 115 about career and technical education. The items of note, it was 2 statements under authority were added. Under authority, letter D, where it explains prior to placement, what the plan is for the student, parent, or guardian, making sure that a placement agreement is in place, agreeing to follow district program rules, and engage in any kind of verification for the state of graduation requirements. And this also is going to apply to home education students who are not otherwise enrolled in district programming. And also underneath there, they're adding the statements under certifications. Any supervisor who is going to be supervising our students must have a clarifying background check. So if it's like somebody going to work for the company that does the trucking, anybody who's going to be supervising the students there are going to be required to go through a background check. And then any instructional things were put into the policy. It's listed under informational items, policy 115AR-0. Committee members, any questions or comments about the review, the policy review? Any comments, questions from the full board? Okay, please say yes if you'd like to move this policy to the second reading.
Yes.
Yes. And yes. Okay. Letter J, to review Board Policy 200, enrollment of students. This policy was edited for formatting, and the bulk of the content revisions were made into the AR listed under informational items. And that would be Policy 200AR-0, enrollment of students, as well as Board Policy 200-AR-1, children, students of military families. I know that they had some additions to that in the Congress, Pennsylvania Congress last year, I believe, or this, or most recently. So we are just reflecting that change that was made in the legislature. To my committee members, any questions or comments? Any from the full board? Okay, if there are none, please say yes if you'd like to move this on to a second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and we will move that forward. Letter K, Board Policy 200, admission of students, first reading. With this policy, it was, edits were made to the first sentence of the kindergarten section as follows. The board requires children shall attain the age of 5 years within 6 months of September 1st of the year they are enrolling in order to be eligible for kindergarten enrollment. And then that would then be reflected in the AR, Board Policy 201-AR-0, admission of students. Are there any questions, comments regarding this policy?
What? I know that we had some issues this year in kindergarten that we want to maybe add a few things to, and I don't know if we want to help me out here.
You know, Mr. Barbetta, the under kindergarten, we want to make sure that we're clear that we had some 4-year-olds that actually were looking to enroll in kindergarten, and we want to make sure they're developmentally, obviously appropriate for kindergarten classrooms. And so we want to make sure the language there is, that we're allowing students an early registration, but I'm not sure that language really specifies.
Yeah, I feel like we need to go.
Or clarifies.
Yeah, a little deeper into.
So there's an entire update in the AR for early admission of students, which delineates both the age requirement, but then also the assessment that is part of that early admission
So
process.
can we take this back for first read again and work on that language or work on that section?
I think sometimes it's easier, especially to make it very clear in the policy part, like even if it's in the AR. Again, I got a few calls myself
we can go
about
back to
early
this.
admissions, and there's just a few other things. Okay.
I think that's completely appropriate. Okay. So we will not be moving this forward? Okay, so we are going to remove that for revision, and we will attempt to do a first reading of it next month. Okay, letter L, policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students, first reading. In this, there was language added, added sex, gender to non-discrimination section, meaning did not have to reference either. There was the removal of PSBA bolding. There was also moving the integrated language under the policy in guidelines section into an AR. That would be AR 202-AR-0, non-resident students. And that will address the same categories of non-resident students. Any questions or comments regarding this policy? Any board members? Okay, seeing that there's none, please say yes if you'd like to move this forward for second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Letter M, Board Policy 236.1, Threat Assessment. Okay, hold on, my screen has frozen. Come on. I might have to read yours. Let's get back up to the top here. Yeah, for some reason, my screen is frozen. Okay, all right. Okay, we're going to improvise here. Pivot. All right, so for policy 236, for the threat assessment, for this policy, there was revised language throughout to comply with updated school code requirements. The terms, quote, crimes and, quote, incident definitions are much more detailed than in the PSBA model policy, so it was left as is. We removed the term, the construction section. There was also removal of definitions not uniquely applicable to the policy. And then guidelines onwards in the policy were made into an could be made into an AR. So the question is, should we keep the policy as is, or should we split it into an AR?
I may mistress, I believe we ended up moving that into largely into the AR after further discussion with the administration team.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. Okay, so that was made into an AR. Okay, great. Colleagues, any questions or comments? Okay, any questions from the full board? Okay, if you would like to move this item forward for a second reading, please say yes.
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 And yes. Okay, let's see if we can get back on track here. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, letter N, Board Policy 718, Service Animals in School First Reading. For this policy, the primary updated with PSBA language. This is from the April 2025, I'm sorry, I forgot, PNN stands for?
So that's the Policy News Network.
Thank you.
That PSBA releases.
Thank you. Okay, so that was updated with language from there, but it did not include the more detailed section about miniature horses. Okay, and we deleted language, and that has been moved to an AR, and that AR is policy 718-AR-0, service animals in school. Any questions about this policy? Anybody from the full board, questions? All right, if there are none, please say yes if you would like to move this policy forward for second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Letter.
Holly, can I
Yeah.
interrupt you real quick? I'm going to make this one easy, the next one that you're going to read. After further review, we've realized that we need additional information in it, so we're going to just remove that one for right now, so it'll
All
be
right.
no. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, so letter O, Board Policy 815. Yes, that is going to be removed, and we will have to get that reviewed, and we will bring it back. Sorry? Okay. And we will bring that back for a reading next month. All right, letter P, Policy 915, booster clubs. With this policy, moved all but the first paragraph under guidelines, and that has been made into an AR. That's AR 915 Policy 915-AR-0, and it's changed the word should to shall in what is now delegation of authority. And then, like I said, that policy is, that AR is now reflected under the informational items. Any questions or comments regarding this policy?
I'm not on the committee, but if no one on the committee does, I just have questions.
Okay, go.
I just want to, so the old policy wasn't really changed, it was just shifted from policy into mostly an AR?
Correct.
Correct, the guidelines were moved into an
Yes.
AR. That's the,
But I think there was also some additional language added in the AR surrounding fundraising and
Yes.
requirements for things like business accounts and
Yeah, finances and camps.
financial requirements.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to need more time. I'm just going to tell you. Just
Well, it's
having-
not even going to, I mean, the first reading is at the end of the month, so.
right, this is just committee.
Right, and I'm not on the committee, okay.
I mean,
you can still provide input, and we can still make.
I will review and provide input
considerations
to the
to it.
chair of the committee, how about that? Is
Yes,
fair?
that would be the recommendation.
I was
Okay.
going to say, I did look at what's in the AR in terms of finances, and it all looks like what I remember the experience being, so please take a look at it, let me know if you feel the same.
Yeah, because we've both been treasurers of booster clubs and presidents of booster clubs, and we know the challenges that we came across, so I just wanted to
Yes.
make sure
Yeah.
we're supporting our booster clubs and not making it impossible.
Very much
Yeah.
involved in those separate entities, have it like, so we can really.
Right, like an inside perspective.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because I think sometimes we are missing things within that. And I just want to make sure that we have this down.
One of the things I do, again, want to say is I don't see it, but, you know, most of our policies refer to some law or guideline or reference. I don't see any links of, you know, is there guiding print laws on these things? Because I researched the heck out of this stuff back in the day, and it's very minimal or conflicting, and most people are like, no, we're going to let schools figure that out.
Yeah, so there's not a booster club law per se. I mean, but there are certain laws that will impact operations such as commingling of funds, and then also kind of best interest of the district overall, sorts of insurance, things like that. I can tell you that in recently revising or updating a similar policy for another district, and I think, because I haven't actually talked to you about this, but I think one of the things you're talking about of concern is scenarios where it ends up becoming such a hassle or and then it becomes a hindrance to parents or coaches or whomever wants to support the student organization based on the rigorous regulation that's in the policy of the AR. So that is something that we've dealt with in the past, and if that's the concern, we can certainly work through a lot of this. Other things that sometimes come up, games of chance, things like that, depending on what types of activities the booster clubs are putting on. Those are things that need to be accounted for. But no, there's not any specific direct policy in the school code that handles or addresses these types of issues. So there can be some customization based on a particular district's needs, but then there's also going to be some best practices that'll be recommended across the board.
No, I appreciate that, because I tried really hard to bring, common practices and handbooks and all of the things, but sorry, you wanted to jump in. But one of the challenges is this district versus maybe other districts that we're comparing ourselves to. It was often fallen upon and almost really demanded of booster clubs to supply certain things that in another district the school would supply. Like, for example, socks for the soccer team. Like, it was like, you have to pay for socks, we don't have the money. But the kids need socks because it's part of a uniform. So those are the things that we don't want to create. If booster clubs are going to help supplement what a different school district could afford to buy, I want to make sure we make it easy for them to do so.
And I think we'll move forward together and we'll work through it if the administration's okay with that too. But I don't see that being something that sticks out to me. That's an automatic, no, we cannot go there situation with a policy or AR.
Thank you.
And I think even our boosters want some direction too. Like, we don't always, there seems to be some limbo sometimes in knowing what the district is supposed to do or what the boosters are. So if we just even give a little bit more direction within our AR, I think it would be helpful.
Are we removing this then? Or are we moving it forward for a second reading?
That is the committee's pleasure.
Okay. All right. I mean, if fellow committee members are okay, I am going to suggest that we move it forward for second readings and allow the edits to be made.
So you mean a first read
I'm
at the
sorry.
end of the month? No, it's
Another
okay.
first read then?
Yep, a
Okay.
first read at the end of the month, and then from there, we can decide whether or not, at that meeting, does the language fit at that point? If not, you can always go
Okay.
back.
And we could also stop it at the second read if we still don't like it. So.
Correct.
Okay.
I think we have our eyes on it now, so.
That's kind of the benefit of the new structure is there are kind of multiple shots at this if it's
Okay.
some minor cleanup or even moderate cleanup.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, committee members, if you would like to move this policy forward for second read?
First read, right?
Sorry.
First read. It's all right.
First read,
It's a long night.
please say yes?
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Yes. Okay, section 5 is our informational items. Those are the ARs that I noted during the policies. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Is there any public comment? No public comment, okay. The next meeting for the policy committee will be October 14th, 2025. And I would like to adjourn the
Policy Committee meeting at 8:43.